Oregon is also called Stumptown, but I don't know if they're the same. So
I doubt it.
I think they're different.
Yeah, so maybe there's some,
Very community-minded.
and maybe with food, there's some other options. You know, if we're going to do sandwiches or stuff there, maybe we can get some donations there that make it cost effective to sell those for reasonable prices. Don't make a profit.
If they donate stuff like that, can they write it off?
If we become a
nonprofit?
Yeah, through a
Well, that's an incentive right there.
And then the only other thing that, well, I don't remember what's on my next slide, so I'm going to say, what community services we hope to offer with the cafe. Is cafe going to contribute to other efforts in the community? Will it reorganize and redesign itself, its menu, its name? Some of the things we can look about, you know, with this thing. What else should the cafe do? Some of these things, like what Q Cafe does, it's been around for so many years, where they're donating to the community. I would love this place to be able to donate to other efforts within the community around it. Obviously, probably the first step is to figure out whether it can even operate itself. And maybe that's a longer term goal, but I know that's some of the things we can look at. And I think we're getting close to the end. Yeah, this is the last one. Probably already hit it. Raising money, umbrella or of another nonprofit to start collecting donations, question mark. Volunteers to help organize this plan. Volunteers to serve on board of directors. Volunteers and experts to prepare nonprofit status paperwork if we go that direction. And donations required to file for the status, and see other startup considerations and costs. And then what are we missing and next steps? And that's where I open it up to what you guys feel we need to add.
You touched on it a little bit before you switched slides, but you have to have some clearly identified showcase nonprofit issues that you're supporting and representing that are happening here. I know you described some at the very beginning, but it's things that are going to be ongoing on a regular basis. That's going to be what you need to attract the donors.
The activity corporate donors.
Which specifically would mean a paid activities coordinator would make sense.
I think one thing that's missing there is a budget, business plan, budget.
Anything need to happen with the lease and your landlord? She's aware of what you're thinking, and
yeah, she'd
sign over the lease. She'd let the lease
that
have to
is
go
open
to
to discussion.
Okay.
She is going out on a sailboat for a couple months and not going to be back till Labor Day. She said otherwise she was going to make it to this meeting. She said, you know, sounds like a really interesting concept. I know, it must be life. Really interesting concept. Really wish I could make it to the meeting because I'm really interested in seeing how this would work. My only concern initially that I can say is if it's run by volunteers, who's going to make sure my property, you know, is staying maintained. I think that's an easy one to address. In fact, I already addressed it to her somewhat and said, Julie, if this happens, there will be an organizer or a position, either be it me in the beginning or someone else that will always have the oversight as I do now. So I think she's amenable. Telling you honestly, my situation, I have looked at closing. I had gone to her and was looking at closing. My rent is half right now what it was. She's not really happy to have my rent half what it was, but I think she's happier to have that than having me gone completely.
Stay on the boat.
Yeah. So I think she'd actually be very open to, she knows she doesn't see me as a long-standing tenant at this time. I'm on a month-to-month now. Or actually week-to-week, kind of, because either one of us can break it within 2 weeks, period.
Is there any restriction on the lease that she has with the optometrist next door, or what can go in there?
No. What was really interesting is even though it had been empty for 5 years, she had been dead set on this being used as medical. She's a doctor herself. I wanted medical space in here. I don't want a coffee shop. I want it to be a medical facility. And it was funny because even 5 years empty, it was kind of a. But she's been happy with it since it's been obviously. So are we open to email discussions, maybe holding, what do you think the next, any suggestions on what the next meeting should specifically address and what you want to see? Oh, man.
501c3, how would I do that? I think if Jean did that, that's right on her coattails on that.
You think she would? He's putting you on the spot, James.
Yeah, I mean, our agreement would be the same as with Rosewood, is that if money is contributed, we can write the tax exempt letter, but we will not spend more than what comes in.
Sounds like you need a little steering committee to get it started, so that if you're already fried yourself, you can get some help.
What are you
with
saying?
people that get Somebody could get some help with some of that, putting together a business plan, the paperwork for the 501c3.
I kind of like that idea. See, you point to me and tell me to do all this, and Gary says,
But if I'd like to help, raise your hand.
I'll push your wheelchair, that's.
I think Gary just stopped to get a chair.
well, does this sound amenable just to just email everybody at this point and ask if those who can volunteer some time to maybe put together or be on a steering committee, set some basic suggestions of what I think those things are going to be that I need to put together to bring to the steering committee to start it out with?
Yes.
That work?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think you gotta get rolling.
I got to get rolling.
As you were saying, that this is, you're on that situation, so we need to get something done.
Yeah, that's
That,
very
that,
true.
that steering committee is likely going to become your board of directors, so.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that because nobody's going to volunteer
Well,
to
but,
be on the
no, but you have to ask, because you have to have a board of directors. Like you're saying, you can't do this all by yourself. You need people to come alongside, so.
Yeah, that would be a good transition, wouldn't it? Because they'd already be familiar with what's going on here, the proposals and
But they don't
everything, and they
have
just...
to be. Let's just make that
They don't have
clear.
to.
No, they don't have to be, but
You're not making a lifetime commitment.
Right.
But
It's
you
a
want them to
natural
make decisions
transition.
that are going to be able to carry through and that they're feeling confident about. Not that they would make them and then somebody else would have to do them. They would have to feel confident that they would take the leadership.
One of the ways that People for Parks can help with that is with the Meyer Memorial Trust grant that we just received. We have funds to pay a consultant who has well over 20 years experience and expertise. And we'll be working with other nonprofit organizations